Hi, I'm Coywolf, and I'm an artist, but I became an artist through industrial engineering. So I used my industrial engineering skills to learn art. It took me down a very interesting journey and allowed me to build things in ways that I didn't really even think that it was possible. Shogun West is my multimedia comic book. Originally, it was going to be the world's largest comic book in sculpture form, 20 feet tall by 40 feet wide, and that didn't happen because of 2020 being canceled. However, now it's brought back in a very different form. So one of the pieces is El Toron. El Toron is a motorcycle that's turned into a giant bull. And this is not any old motorcycle or what people associate with Burning Man art piece. It was actually built very differently. Since I'm an engineer, this thing is highly engineered, and since I come from a BMX background, this still has all that agility and all that performance put into it. I was actually planning on taking it down to the Baja 1000. So what makes this bike unique is it's got this custom frame that allows everything to be balanced. I had originally ridden that bike from San Francisco to Cabo, and it was unbalanced and I was almost falling off a cliff and having difficulty maintaining speed and holding a line. Now with my innovative frame, it's modular and I can take the gas tanks and have them locked to the front and be able to repair it in the field if I need to. And it also protects the bike. It's been dropped multiple times and to test it out, and also just from riding heavily off-road, and it holds up. You're actually able to DJ while you're riding, which is pretty wild, and that's a quick release setup. You can even stick a laptop on it and take a Zoom call. It's got giant horns on it. It's a pretty unique bike, and with the current setup, I was able to actually go 120 miles per hour off-road with over about 200 pounds of payload on it, and it was very, very stable before it would start slapping or swinging around 80-90 miles per hour in the same conditions. So I'd say that was a great success. Also with Shogun West, since it was a story, in the original story there was Prometheus. So Prometheus has been brought back. Now it's further in the future, and he takes on the form of a wolf and a man. And he's got his companion, El Toron, which he uses to jump from dimension to dimension. And in this, he's actually fighting this very difficult foe, who's Captain Sabajo. And Captain Sabajo has kidnapped Prometheus' son and is going from dimension to dimension, robbing these planets of all their resources, but he comes in trying to save the planet from the wolves. So it's a little bit of juxtaposition where the wolf is actually the good guy and crying wolf is done in a very different way. This is an interesting story. Rather than just having a video or just having some text, this is done in multimedia form. So some of the stuff I actually go around town with the Prometheus character, film live on a multitude of full moons, and do some live interaction with folks through town, and that's blended in with the video. Sometimes in post-production it's animated, then we have some stuff that we've used AI to develop, and also this was on display in an art gallery. So, and some is like audio recordings. And all, once it's going to be delivered, it'll be done in a puzzle way where you can actually go and piece the little pieces together through an online experience, and you can get that story that way. And it's definitely been a fun project, and it addresses a lot of the issues that we're facing today. And it really just stresses the point of just being kind to each other and actually understanding other people's point of view, because if we really look at it, we're not so different from each other. So, and with my art, one of the things that's been a very common theme with everything that we're going to be diving deeper into is something that randomly ended up helping me out. So the very first art piece that started the whole journey of this art was these necklaces I made. And I moved into a house that had lions everywhere, and I hated them. So I made these necklaces randomly as I was going through a little bit of a hard time, but successfully made it through that. And rather than being mad about it, I was grateful. And for other folks that were also going through something, I wanted to give them the lion necklace. And I never sold any, and these were only given to folks, for the most part, just folks that I felt that it could be helpful to. And the message behind that is like, hey, strength comes from within. It's not the lion, it's not me, but they are pretty heavy. They're about a quarter pound, so it just serves as a reminder. And a few years before that, what I started doing was, rather than setting New Year's goals, I started setting themes, and it was a different way to look at personal development. Like, it might be like happiness and or new experiences. And that was pretty helpful, because at the end of it, you're more open to new experiences, for example. And while building El Toron, since that project was fairly gnarly because I kept increasing the scope over and over and wanted to do it on a very tight timeline, one of the things that was my own image of me is like, hey, I didn't think I had as much endurance as everyone else, or I was lazy. So one of the things I'd written on a piece of paper is like, is it grit or wit? Because I was trying to get this thing down to Mexico in a very short time frame with a pretty insane build. And since I was building a bull, I was like, I'll become the bull. And at the same time, I had 2 crushed discs in my back, and the doctor said it was going to be a 1.5 year recovery where I would need surgery. And most of the tools I bought for my shop didn't work, so I had to fix them and also learn how to use them simultaneously. So it was and also a single parent, so it was a fairly large uphill battle. So it was just 15 more minutes. Building a bull would be like a bull, and that would turn into hours and hours and hours. And now that's been a compounded effect, and that part or that identity is completely gone, and actually ended up healing my back in 2.5, 3 months, completely pain-free. At that time, I was waking up at 4:45 in the morning doing, my PT system that I created for myself, along with, meditation and workout and journaling, and then learning a new skill. And so things I found difficult, it was just, I'm going to be a bull, I'm going to sit down and do the stuff that I really don't like doing, embrace the suck, and go with it. So it's been a very positive experience on that end, embracing that spirit animal. And beyond that, with this particular one, there's also a giving component as well. So the bull is a symbol of vitality and health and fighting and perseverance and the masculine. And that's an area that's, for a little bit, almost even been vilified and kind of pushed aside. And there's a lot of men that do a lot of great things for folks and make a positive impact, and that's that positive masculinity. And one of these folks was my friend Jonah, and he is a therapist, and he is working primarily with schools, and he's also into hip-hop. So him and my other friend Max, they created this program which was for hip-hop therapy called the Rhythmic Mind. And they started actually going to juvenile halls and creating these programs to help this troubled youth process their trauma and their raw emotions through the form of music, by bringing in, rapping and learning how to compose music, and rather than express those emotions through music rather than violence. And he had a kid, and he went in to the doctor for shoulder pain, and once he went in, the doctor was like, oh, this is not from your shoulder, this is actually stage 4 colon cancer. So he's been fighting for his life, and one of the things that I wanted to give him. It's like, hey, you know, he's done a lot of good things for men, and really hoping that he fights through this, and wanted to, you know, give him that fighting energy, I guess, of the bull. So I made him a notebook out of leather, but I waited until I got the front of the bike made, and I took a picture and remapped that whole entire front, and used that as a logo. So it's a refillable leather notebook, and I went and dropped that off. So that was the first stop once the bike was built, to one of the first things I did with the bike once I got it put together. And then I also made another notebook for a motorcycle rider, just because he was 20 years old and he got diagnosed with lymphoma. So I made one for him and sent it as well. But yeah, those were like some of the things that it's kind of like makes me feel complete as far as making the art. So yeah, this is a Shogun West, and there's a lot of different components to it. So follow me on my journey. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and check out one of my other videos. Thank you.